what is one of the top stories you did so far with investigative reporting, and what in your opinion, what was your top story?
Well, one of my favorite stories is the Casanova Killer, which was a full-length documentary on a serial killer from 1974. His name is Paul John Knowles, and he did a cross-country spree during the summer of 74, and he didn't just stay in Georgia too, which was very interesting. You know, like he was in California, Florida, Alabama, Connecticut even, and he crisscrossed the country killing people. So it was very, and I don't think it's funny. I'm just
no, I understand.
it's his story's interesting to me because he's not a well-known serial killer, and part of the reason is he's before Bundy, and he confessed to killing more people than Ted Bundy, but the notoriety never came because it was the same year as Watergate. So a lot of the coverage and reporting went towards covering that, and his killing spree kind of fell to the wayside. But this was a story I actually pitched while I was still in school, I guess January, February, right when I started with the team. And we got to see it through, and we actually released it in December of 2019. And we're less than 50,000 away from 1 million views. So that was pretty exciting. So it was neat to like pitch a story, research it, find all the case files, because I've never filed that many FOIAs before in my life, and talked to different jurisdictions because he traveled so far. Getting to make contact with all of these like police and sheriffs and archives because it was so old, even reaching out to like the FBI and the GBI and all that sort, collecting all this data, all of these case files and photos from families, and trying to weave together his story that has never been told on like a documentary type platform before. It was a lot of fun. You know, I got to travel to Florida and speak to his brother.
Wow.
So I know. And it was so weird. I mean, not weird. It was just interesting. I was in the house of a serial killer's brother, and his wife was so sweet. You know, we came into their house, offered us water, blah, blah, blah. So when we left, I just thanked her, and I gave her a hug, and I went to go shake his hand, and he actually pulled me in for a hug. And that was just such a surreal moment for me. Just thinking about this job and where it could lead you, you know?
Oh my gosh, that's insane. So like, whatever happened to him? Did he like end up getting like death row, or what happened to him?
Well, there's kind of some mystery behind his death. So right before he was captured, he had kidnapped a Florida State patrolman and executed him in the woods along with another man from Delaware. So when he was finally, they set up a roadblock, he crashed his car, they found him. And when a GBI agent and another law enforcement person were taking him around to his crime scene to try to get like any weapons or find bodies and things like that, they said that he was trying to reach for the gun of the man driving. So the GBI agent shot him and killed him. So there's kind of, you know, the mystery is it trying to get revenge for him killing an officer, or did he actually try to steal a gun when his hands were handcuffs and shackles and things of that? So who knows how? Like,
what did the brother think?
Well, the brother thought that they took him out and killed him.
And did he have like does he miss his brother? Or did he like is he like dead to him? Do you remember? Did you ask him that?
Well, obviously it tore his family apart.
Yeah.
And when I asked him if, like, you know, that final question that we ask, is there anything that I left off? Is there anything else you'd like to say? And he just like looked so candidly in the camera, and he just said, "I'm sorry to all the families that my brother killed." Yeah, like, So that was something.
So like, I guess he's kind of like dead to him. Like he didn't even care about it, and like he was over him.
Well, they're very, very close. You know,
wow.
In the interview, he even called him Bubba. Like that's how you would describe him. Like not his, like you wouldn't call him by his real name, just call him Bubba. So
Did you get like chills with all that going on?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
And then, I mean, just like interviewing the victims' families, which are never easy, but part of this, he had 14 confirmed kills, but left behind these tapes confessing that he killed 30 people. So there's a lot of the opportunity to close cold cases with this story, not just, glorifying a serial killer for no reason, telling their story when they shouldn't have their story told. There's a chance to bring closure to some of these chapters. So part of the way that we crisscrossed him and pointed him in different locations during the summer was through his credit card receipts. So he would steal his victims' credit cards and put on their clothes and kind of become that person. And I know, run out their credit cards. And so when I released that, after our story was released, I reached out to some of the law enforcement in those areas where he made purchases to see if they had any cold cases from that time period. And a few people did get back to me looking into those cases to see if they can connect him with Paul John Knowles, which has been very interesting. And then, of course, one of his victims, it was in 2011, it was a little girl. She was 13 or 14 years old. She was finally her body was able to be shipped back to her family. And that's like, I don't know, so many years since 2011.
Damn.
So that was cool. So I will say that's probably my favorite story.
Yeah, I'm sure that's like super interesting. Like, it's not every day you get to interview a serial killer's family type of thing. That's actually kind of crazy. Like, I guess because like I've actually it's kind of crazy you mentioned that, because the past 2 days I kind of like saw something on YouTube about like some a cold case or something, and like and then they started like watching all these mystery videos, and like it always gets me to wonder like how they find these stories, and like what happens actually, and like what the aftermath was, like what's like the real answer behind all this, and like that's so interesting.
Right. Yeah. And my thing is just like trying to understand their, I don't know, thinking in a way, which was pretty interesting. So with these tapes that he recorded, they're allegedly destroyed. There was a flood in the courthouse they were stored in Macon, Georgia. But there were these other tapes we were able to recover from his lawyer, who we also got to interview. And he was an interesting character himself. And these tapes were the serial killer speaking to a court-appointed psychologist about like his family and the reasons he did things. And of course, these tapes, they're so old, they're kind of hard to understand, but hearing his voice was very interesting.
Was the lawyer still saying he's innocent, or did he know he was guilty from the start?
Well, he spoke very much like a lawyer speak, very proper, only told the facts, and like this happened like chronologically. He thinks that he had only killed 14 people and he didn't kill any more than that. So, but he does know, because I mean, he confessed to the lawyer.
Mm-hmm. So I wonder, I mean, that's been out since, only a couple months now. Like, maybe this thing could be potentially huge, and like it takes one person to look at it and start sharing it, and like this thing could escalate to a big showing.
I know. That's the thing, one can only hope.
Well, I'm going to put it in my description as well, like after, like, so, because I'm actually interested in that. Like, where could people even like watch that?
Well, so it is on YouTube. So I have in my Instagram, I have a link to that as well, but I can share it with you. It's just Casanova Killer documentary. Yeah, and it's the 11 Alive one.
Okay, yeah, I definitely want to put that on. Because that's actually really interesting. So was that like, did you ever expect to like do stuff like that, like when you got into the job, like, or was that completely different from what you expected?
Yeah, completely different. It was nice to be able to have the freedom to pitch your stories and people support you on them, especially being so new. Like, having that support has just been incredible. So I put myself in that situation with that storytelling, but also I know that they kind of wanted to get into the true crime realm while it was popular. You know, that Ted Bundy documentary had just come out on YouTube and all sorts of things like that. So, and then there's so many true crime podcasts.
Right. There's so many.
So, yeah.
Well, what do you personally think he killed more people than Ted Bundy?
I can see that being very possible. You know, we spoke to like former detectives on the case who said he left a body everywhere he went. You know, he didn't really kill with old people, young people, men, women, children. He killed them all. So I could see that being very possible.
That's so scary.
I don't know.